You think you're just going to casually criticize someone on live television and walk away clean. Rex Ryan learned the hard way that's not how things work when Michael Irvin is in the building. What went down between these two wasn't your typical sports debate where everyone shakes hands afterward and moves on. This was a complete verbal demolition, the kind of moment that gets replayed for years and becomes part of sports media legend. Rex Ryan sat there thinking he was about to deliver another one of his classic old school football takes. You know the type. Back in my day, players had respect, they stayed humble, they acted like they'd been there before. The usual tired lecture that former coaches love giving about how the current generation doesn't understand what football is really about. He had no idea he was about to get absolutely destroyed by someone who actually lived through the same criticism he was dishing out. It started when Rex decided to go after Shedeur Sanders. Not just mild criticism either, full attack mode. He looked right at the camera and questioned everything about Shedeur's character, his work ethic, his professionalism. Rex painted this picture of a cocky kid sitting in the back of meetings with his arms crossed, running his mouth about deserving to start while not putting in the actual work. The whole speech dripped with that classic boomer energy of kids these days don't understand hard work. What Rex didn't anticipate was Michael Irvin sitting right there, listening to every word and getting more fired up by the second. You could actually see it happening if you watch the footage. Irvin's body language changing, his jaw tightening, that look in his eyes that anyone who knows him recognizes immediately. That's the look that says somebody just crossed a line they shouldn't have crossed, and now there's going to be consequences. When Irvin finally responded, it wasn't a response. It was an eruption. The man didn't just disagree with Rex, he systematically dismantled everything Rex said with the kind of passion and intensity that makes you lean forward in your seat. This wasn't about defending Shedeur Sanders, the football player. This was about defending an entire generation of athletes who dare to show confidence in their abilities. Irvin started by calling out the obvious hypocrisy. Rex Ryan talking about humility and staying quiet. The same Rex Ryan who spent his entire coaching career making bold predictions, talking trash, guaranteeing Super Bowl victories he never delivered. The same guy who built his entire media career on being loud and controversial, that Rex Ryan is now lecturing someone else about toning it down. The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. But Irvin didn't stop there. He went deeper, questioning the entire foundation of Rex's criticism. You're saying all this like you're actually there at practice. Irvin fired back, like you're in the meetings watching Shedeur not pay attention. Like you have sources inside the building telling you he's not working hard. But you don't have any of that, do you, Rex? You're just making assumptions based on a clip you saw online. And now you're on national television destroying this kid's character without any actual evidence. That's when things really escalated. Because Irvin wasn't just defending Shedeur anymore. He was defending every young athlete who's ever been criticized for showing personality, for celebrating success, for having confidence in their abilities. The entire old guard mentality that says players need to be robots, that emotion is unprofessional, that swagger somehow means you're not taking the game seriously. Irvin was taking a sledgehammer to all of that outdated thinking. What made Irvin's rant so powerful was the authenticity behind it. This wasn't manufactured controversy for ratings. This was genuine emotion from someone who lived through exactly what Shedeur is experiencing now. Michael Irvin was one of the most confident, flamboyant, entertaining players of his generation, and he got criticized constantly for it. People said he was cocky, that he cared more about attention than winning, that his celebrations were disrespectful. All the same tired criticisms that get thrown at young players today. But here's what those critics never understood then, and still don't understand now. That confidence, that swagger, that personality, it's not separate from the work ethic and dedication. It's part of it. Irvin knew that because he lived it. When you're confident enough to celebrate, when you believe in yourself enough to show personality, it doesn't mean you're not working hard. Often it means you're working harder than everyone else because you have something to prove. Irvin made this point beautifully during his rant. He talked about how every player in the NFL has to believe they're good enough to be there. That's not arrogance, that's necessity. If you don't have complete confidence in your abilities at that level, you'll get destroyed. The mental game in professional football is just as important as the physical game. So when Shedeur Sanders says he thinks he should be playing, when he shows confidence in his abilities, that's not disrespect. That's exactly the mindset he needs to have. Rex tried to defend himself multiple times during this exchange, but every time he opened his mouth, Irvin came back louder and more passionate. It was like watching someone try to argue with a freight train. Rex would start to make a point and Irvin would would just steamroll right over it with more facts, more logic, more passion. The poor guy never stood a chance. The best part, the absolute knockout moment, came when Irvin pointed out Rex's own track record. You're lecturing Shedeur about needing to earn it, about staying humble, about putting in the work. But Rex, what did you actually accomplish as a head coach? All those bold predictions, all that trash talk, and what do you have to show for it? No rings, no Super Bowl appearances, just a lot of noise that never translated to actual success. So maybe, just maybe, you're not in the position to be lecturing anyone about confidence and swagger. That hit different because it exposed the real issue here. It's not that older generation football people have a problem with confidence in general. They have a problem with young players showing confidence before they've proven themselves by old school standards. But those same critics had no problem being confident and outspoken when they were building their own careers. The double standard is obvious once you actually think about it. Irvin also made a crucial point about the media's role in all this. He called out how Shedeur gets asked these questions by reporters, and then when he answers honestly, he gets criticized for his answers. What's he supposed to do? If he says he thinks he should be playing, he's cocky. If he says he's fine with his current role, he lacks confidence and competitive fire. It's a no-win situation that young athletes constantly find themselves in. The internet absolutely exploded after this exchange. Clips went viral across every platform. People were calling it one of the greatest sports media moments in years. And honestly, they weren't wrong. This was raw, unscripted passion about something that actually matters. Not manufactured beef for clicks, but genuine disagreement about the future of football and how we treat young players. What's fascinating is how this moment revealed something deeper about the generational divide in football. The older generation, represented by Rex Ryan, believes in paying your dues quietly, earning respect through years of humble service before you're allowed to show any personality. The newer generation, defended by Irvin, understands that personality and confidence are part of what makes the game entertaining and culturally relevant. Shedeur Sanders represents everything about modern football that old school types struggle with. He's the son of a legendary player, so he grew up in that world of confidence and showmanship. He has social media presence and understands how to build his brand. He celebrates with style and isn't afraid to show emotion. And most importantly, he genuinely believes in his abilities even when others doubt him. All of that makes traditional football people uncomfortable. But here's what they're missing. That confidence, that swagger, that entertainment value. That's exactly what the NFL needs. Football isn't just about X's and O's anymore. It's about personalities, storylines, moments that transcend the game itself. Players like Shedeur, who understand that and embrace it, aren't hurting the game. They're evolving it, keeping it relevant for new generations of fans. Irvin understood this instinctively because he was part of that evolution in his era. The Dallas Cowboys team he played on weren't just successful, they were entertaining. They had personality, swagger, style, and they got criticized constantly for it the same way Shedeur gets criticized now. But those teams changed football, made it more than just a sport, turned it into cultural phenomenon. That's what Irvin was defending when he went after Rex. The beautiful irony of this whole situation is that Rex Ryan's criticism actually helped Shedeur more than it hurt him. Every time someone from the old guard goes on television and lectures about humility and respect, it just makes young players like Shedeur more appealing to fans. People are tired of the boring, corporate, say the right thing approach. They want authenticity, personality, confidence. Shedeur provides all of that naturally. What made Irvin's defense so effective wasn't just the volume or passion, though he definitely brought both. It was the logic behind it. He systematically destroyed every point Rex made, not by yelling louder, but by actually thinking through the arguments and exposing their weaknesses. The criticism about Shedeur's body language, based on nothing but assumptions. The lecture about work ethic, coming from someone who never saw him practice. The complaints about confidence, from a guy who built his career on being loud and bold. By the time Irvin was finished, Rex looked like he regretted ever bringing up Shedeur's name, and he should have, because what this exchange really exposed is how tired and played out the old school criticism has become. Young players aren't going to stop showing personality just because former coaches think they should. The game has evolved, the culture has evolved, and either you evolve with it or you become irrelevant. Other people in the sports media world started weighing in after this viral moment, and the overwhelming majority sided with Irvin. Even former players who played in different eras acknowledge that times have changed. The game is different now, the expectations are different, and trying to force modern players into outdated molds doesn't work. Confidence isn't the enemy of success. Often it's the fuel that drives success. What's interesting is how this debate reflects larger cultural conversations happening right now. It's not just about football, it's about generational differences in how we view confidence, self-promotion, personal brand building. Older generations see these things as arrogant or disrespectful. Younger generations see them as necessary tools for success in modern world. Neither side is completely wrong, but the resistance to change is definitely holding some people back. Shedeur Sanders doesn't need to change who he is to make Rex Ryan comfortable. He needs to keep being authentic, keep showing confidence, keep building his brand and his game, because that authenticity is what makes him special. That's what separates good players from great ones at this level. The mental strength to believe in yourself, even when critics are loud and constant. The timing of Irvin's defense was perfect too. This happened right when Shedeur was going through difficult stretch with the Browns, dealing with all the criticism about not playing, questions about his attitude, speculation about his future. Having someone with Irvin's credibility and platform stand up and defend him so passionately had to mean something. It sent a message that not everyone in the football world thinks confidence is a problem. Rex Ryan probably thought he was making a safe criticism that most people would agree with. The classic humble yourself, work hard, earn respect take that usually plays well with certain audiences, but he miscalculated badly. Because the conversation around player empowerment and authenticity has shifted dramatically in recent years. Fans don't want robots anymore. They want personalities. They want players who feel real and relatable, even when they're extraordinarily talented. What Michael Irvin did in that moment was give voice to everyone who's tired of the constant lecturing directed at young athletes. The message wasn't just for Shedeur, it was for every player who's been told to tone it down, stay humble, wait your turn. Irvin was saying loud and clear that confidence isn't something to apologize for, it's something to embrace and use as fuel. The aftermath of this exchange was just as entertaining as the moment itself. Social media was flooded with memes, reaction videos, hot takes from every angle. Some people defended Rex, but they were definitely in the minority. Most people recognize what actually happened here. A former player who understands the modern game stood up against outdated criticism and won decisively. What makes this story so compelling is that it's about more than just one exchange between two media personalities. It's about the future direction of football culture. Are we going to keep clinging to these old ideas about how players should act and present themselves? Or are we going to embrace the evolution happening right in front of us? Michael Irvin made it clear which side of that debate he's on. The genius of Irvin's approach was that he never dismissed Rex Ryan completely. He acknowledged Rex's football knowledge, his experience, his contributions to the game, but he also made it crystal clear that being knowledgeable about football doesn't mean you're right about everything, especially when it comes to judging character and work ethic from distance. That nuance made his argument even stronger. By the end of this exchange, Rex Ryan wasn't just wrong about Shedeur Sanders. He became symbol of everything holding football back from fully embracing its entertainment value and cultural relevance. And Michael Irvin became hero to everyone who believes the game is better when players are allowed to be themselves, show confidence, celebrate success, and build their brands alongside their playing careers. This moment will be remembered for years because it perfectly captured the tension between old school football thinking and modern reality. Rex Ryan represented the past, clinging to ideas about humility and respect that don't really fit anymore. Michael Irvin represented the future, embracing confidence and personality as essential parts of what makes football great. And in that studio, in that moment, the future won decisively. The playmaker defended not just Shedeur Sanders, but the entire evolution of football culture. And he did it with the kind of passion and authenticity that reminded everyone exactly why we fell in love with this game in the first place.